welcome back Game Battles. I'm your host, Chocolatenova. Now, this recording is going on at 2 a.m. in the morning. Okay? I go on whenever I go on. I don't have a set show time in which I go on. I'm going to try to do that eventually. But for now, that's just what I'm doing. So I was just switching up my magic and just talking about the lore. And now I'm just gonna talk about the lore online with you. But first, I gotta find the magic. I want to fill this slot where it would be effective against this boss. And I'm not. I used to, when you first start off in Darksoul, you like magic or anything of the sort, right? The first types of magics that you would really get into doing is probably pyromancy, and then going into throwing soul arrows and darts and using all these other sorceries, right? For magic. Throughout the game to give you the advantage. Then eventually you begin to explore a little bit more as you move through the game, as you beat it, as you do what you do with it when you play over and over, and then you start to venture into different, at least this is what happened to me. You start to venture into using different types of magic that will give you the advantage in the game, and other ways that you can see if they're going to be of a great advantage to you. I'm at the point where I just want to have magic that is going to heal me. And if I can do some damage with a heal or something of that, something or the other, then, I want it to be something, good. Something that would help me through the game for the moment. So I kind of like, dealing with 4. I want 5 slots because I need 2 slots for something else. But I like these magics. Not necessarily the Divine Pillars, which I'm currently switching out. I'm only using it for a particular type of boss for now, because it's effective. And I actually watched somebody else actually use Divine Pillars in such a way that it inspired me to practice using it on that particular boss. So I don't remember who the player was I played with, but bravo to him. He could have used any other magic, but when I had first got Divine Pillars, I thought it was pretty dope, but I found it to be ineffective in situations in which I would require them to be effective, such as a boss fight, or such as being overwhelmed by enemies. Being overwhelmed by enemies, you can forget about using the spell, because he has to do the whole levitating off the floor kind of thing and feeling the goodness or whatever, and then the divine pillars of light start coming down or raising up from the ground and hurting people around you. Now they can hit you and disrupt your whole thing, and I have not equipped a ring yet or raised my stats in such a way that brings up my poise so that I don't get knocked off point whenever I go to do a move or cast a spell. I was like, well, maybe it's time that you do it, right? But Divine Pillars, just like any other spell, you have to do the full motion to get the whole ability to come out sometimes. And if you get hit, it's a waste of a usage for a spell. Now, what I love about Divine Pillars is that it it only costs 3 FP, and it looks like it just kind of just tosses the person into the air. I imagine it does do damage, and it looked like it did do some sort of damage to Frida. This is the boss fight that I used it on, so that you know be easier to defeat her. And I did ended up defeating her with the person that was using Divine Pillars a lot, and it was effective. So that's what I'm learning how to do in the Frida fight. Frida is still our height kind of character. She's not oversized like Yorm. She's not even the twin princes are still taller than us in comparison. Like they're still like Goliaths, if you will. You know, like they're pretty tall, and you know you could tell that they are the higher kingdoms. So you know, even that doesn't really work on them. Although I am compelled to try. The thing is, you want to use spells that are going to either one, give you the advantage, or two, are weakness for the boss. Okay? In this case, in the end, first off, you beat her till she dies. She bleeds. The guy comes out. He starts bringing the flames out, and she's resurrected, so she really can't die. Then to go further of fighting her, she gets up a third time, and this time when she gets up by herself, she's wielding the black flame. So, you know, either they practice playing with the abyss, and you know, for all we know, you know, there is, I don't know where she learned the technique of the, you know, the dark whatever, but there are things that have helped out characters in the game achieve things through certain types of practices that is suggested behind their characters' clothing, well, the NPC's clothing, and their location sometimes. So, you know, it's like, well, Frida, she's still in our size, but she's been played with. She holds two scythes. You know, whenever she swings forward, it's just like she's swinging backwards because she does like a 180 with each swing. So it's you know, it can be very annoying facing her. But you know, Pillars of Light is good because she's still on our size, so she's still player stature. She's still like NPC player or versus player or another player in the game that is our height, and it will be damaged just like she would be damaged if she was a regular soldier in that manner. And this definitely knocks her up in the air and makes her come down. And it has helped. But there are other things that could have been used that wasn't used, you know, such as, lightning storm, maybe, lightning stake, which is to strike things directly down. Now, she doesn't have electricity as something that is gonna affect her, so I think, you know, lightning is nice, but it's just not going to be as effective to certain people besides dragons. Those are the ones that really have a weakness to it. And then, of course, if you're not using thunder, the next best thing would be using such things like Pillars of Light or Blessed Weapon. And I think both are strongly correlated. Because I think when you receive one, you receive the other. Um, when it comes down to these two things right here, blessed weapon and divine pillars and blessing weapons, because the Lothric Knights already have these things as a spell. The blessed weapon. You can find the soldiers in the Lothric castle that they bless their maces with it, and it causes a lot of damage. But if you go up in Lothric's castle, eventually you find, the Grand Archives, where there's a firekeeper or a woman or a lady, whatever you want to call her. She has had her wings ripped out or something of the sort. And I think the Lothric twins called the order. Lord knows, because in their room there's just feathers everywhere. And, they could have just been telling people come in, and or I was going to say chickens, that were winged beasts, and were just plucking their garbs. There's proof of it, because I know that there's another type of armor that I can probably get in the game that is not spoke of, and I'm not going to focus too much on it, but I am going to go to it real quick. My thing has already been down for a while now, and there are quite a few bloodstains out here, and I'm sure there's more further down. That's pretty good. But I've been here for a moment now. So, my trick to doing more to these games is only working with what I got. If I have to add something, I add something, just like anybody else creating content for their Dark Souls game or whatever you want to call it. They're gonna give you some sort of filler. Nobody wants to eat an Oreo cookie without the cream. Maybe there's some people that's out there like that, but some people are on a mission to figure out, why did a world like this happen? Why are there painted worlds to enter and other places to go within those painted worlds? And, what is the end result? What is supposed to happen? You imagine that it's, I like to sit on the side and just kind of just have that look. Because I feel so cool. I'm trying to figure it out. We're here in the church, right? So yeah. So you find her all locked up, and the funny thing about it is that in Dark Souls 2, I don't know the maiden's name, but the maiden, she's another person who has, I believe, black hair and white wings or something like that. I'm not sure. I gotta go back and look at it. But she looks like, well, she's supposed to be like the fragments of Manus. And there's a couple more out there that's been shouted about, supposedly, is what they said. But Your chick with the wings, I believe she was a maiden, more or less is what the Lord said. And here we have another maiden, which also is Guinevere's daughter, who is taken for their own, you know, for protection. I don't know. That's Darksoul's Lord, right? Figure that out. So I'm signing off for a minute. It's already late and stuff like that, so I just did a short clip. Ain't nobody really online like that. So just sign off. I don't got no more to really talk about. Plus, I'm getting tired. So, talk to you guys later. It's your boy Chocolatenova. Peace. I just took a snap.